Michael Smith back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, sir?
Good. I'm just cracking up because y'all just skip right to the good part, right? Y'all just got Ben Simmons going to Portland for Dame. I love it.
Well, I mean,
let's get to the matter at hand.
No, I'll be honest with you, Michael. Y'all is doing a lot of heavy lifting. There's one on the Rich Eisen Show that thinks that, and that's T.J. Jefferson to my right.
Hey, I got to put it out there in the universe, Michael. If I want it to happen, I got to speak it into existence, as they say.
I don't know if that's going to work though. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, that's fascinating. And we actually may discuss that with we got our NBA insider, Vinny Goodwill, making his usual Friday appearance on the show later. Because, I've seen reports where Simmons, may not show for training camp if he's still on the roster. Obviously, it's an awkward situation. And I do wonder, maybe a resident Sixers fan could enlighten me even, if Daryl Morey's playing this the right way. Because on one hand, it's like, dude, he's a depressed asset. Still, there's value in Ben Simmons. Don't get me wrong. I know what he does well. We all know what he does well, what he doesn't do well. But he's a depressed asset mainly because everybody knows it's not realistic for him to return under circumstances. I get wanting high value for him. I also get holding out to wait for Damian Lillard's seemingly inevitable realization that, okay, Chauncey Billups ain't playing and coaching, and we ain't contending with this team no matter how much I want to give it a shot, so I'm ready to be traded. So it's like, if you're Daryl Morey, do you continue to hold out and really make it uncomfortable and, awkward for training camp, if not longer, in the hope that that Damian Lillard runs out of patience, or for that matter, Bradley Beal? Fascinating game Daryl Morey's playing.
So let me just flip it though on the other way, Michael Smith. If you're Damian Lillard, as you say, the inevitable will dawn upon him that Billups is not suiting up unless he's suiting and booting. And so why would you choose the Sixers if you're Lillard? You finally force your exit. You finally, exert whatever you can exert to leave the town that you really want to stay in, by all intents and purposes. Would you choose the Sixers as your landing spot?
I think they're as good as anybody else. Look, I think one thing Damian Lillard does not have to worry about at this point, because he's built up so much respect and goodwill and credibility, throughout the NBA community, and for that matter, the fans, if he's even worried about that. He doesn't have to worry about perception. He doesn't have to worry about image. He doesn't have to worry about legacy. He's fought the good fight. He's run the race in Portland. Nobody's going to say, oh, you're going to join in such and such's team if he does it. I don't think so. I think he's just got too much goodwill built up. So out of any team, if I got an opportunity to have Joel Embiid as my big man, and the way the Sixers, depending on what they give up, would be able to defend, which is, something that's very foreign to Damian Lillard and his teams in Portland. I like them better than New York. Sorry, I know that stings.
No, it does not, Michael. As a matter of fact, I despise Dolan, and as much as I enjoy the coach and everybody who they've put together, I think the owner's unworthy of it. So you can keep on keeping on. That's
okay.
Fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, as sexy as it is for a superstar, a bona fide superstar. I like what the Knicks have done in a short period of time. As sexy as it is for a bona fide superstar to finally choose the Knicks, and obviously it would be his team, and he could have his cake and eat it too. Go to a better team that would obviously be built around him. If he goes to Philly, on certain nights, if not most nights, he's the second best player on the team. But nonetheless, I think that's a one-way ticket to the NBA Finals if he goes to Philly.
Well, I mean, Michael Smith, brother from another, top of the hour here on Peacock right now on the Rich Eisen Show. This is amazing. This is fascinating to me because this is in the ether, and obviously I'm going to get lost in the start of football season, but this is going to have to come to a head. And obviously, if Simmons is untenable in Philadelphia and Lillard does want out in Portland, then that does seem to be a match. Let me just throw an actual figurative match into this. If you're the Bucks, would you try to figure out a way to get Lillard just to shock everybody and know that you've got to load up? Like this year, all well and good, terrific. It was great. Giannis did what he did. But why don't you try and get in the super team game, with all due respect to the guys that are there right now, not technically a super team.
What's up with that?
No, but the Nets are going to have 3 Hall of Famers coming back all healthy. No, I know Middleton did terrific, and Holiday was great, and it worked. But there is the idea that Durant is wearing a shoe too large for his foot, and that might have made things different.
Oh,
you know what I'm
saying?
saying?
All the time.
You know what I mean?
I say it all the time, going back and forth with Holly about because I was pulling for the Nets, he was pulling for the Bucks, really just because we were rooting against each other. We don't have dogs in that fight. We just hate each other like that. No, but I like it where your head is in terms of not resting on. It sounds like you don't rest on your laurels. Don't take anything for granted. Next year's a new year. Yes, you won the championship. You got a big three, if not a super team of your own with. But the Nets are going to come back with reinforcements in Patty Mills. The Heat have replenished. Who knows what the Sixers do? So I hear you. I don't know that I would mess with a good thing though, because I would look at it as okay. In a fantasy basketball perspective, what I want Lillard, sure. Would that work from a chemistry standpoint? What would I have to give up? I'm obviously sacrificing defensively by getting Lillard as much as I love his offensive game. So if I'm Milwaukee, Lillard's not the guy. But also, I'm running it back thinking, okay, last year as the playoffs went on, Giannis got better, and Giannis ended up coming into his own. And imagine a second year of Giannis playing with Drew Holiday, given how they evolved, how Mike Budenholzer even started to evolve and save his job in the process by switching more on defense, for example. If I'm Milwaukee, I stand pat, and I don't look at it as though, hey, I got I was fortunate that Ben Simmons passed up a layup, or I was fortunate that Kevin Durant shoes a size too big and he wore down in overtime of Game 7. I look at it as like, hey, we're just getting started.
I hope so too.
But I do like your thought process.
Because
you're aggressive.
No, here's the deal, Michael Smith. I look out here in Los Angeles, and LeBron and Anthony Davis could rest, right? The Lakers can rest on everything, and then they go add Russell Westbrook, right? And at some point, the Clippers are going to have to figure out how to continue adding. It's an arms race here, and if Lillard is available,
with those clubs though, I don't see the flaws with Milwaukee that would necessitate an earth-shattering move like it would take to get a Damian Lillard or another superstar player. I mean, not to mention, I don't even know what assets they have left, given all they gave up to give up Drew Holiday. Let's not forget that part of it. They gave up a bunch of picks for that in that move, not even mentioning the cap. But I get what you're saying about the arms race part, but the difference I would say with the Lakers, and for that matter, the Clippers, is, those teams have flaws. It wasn't just LeBron James's injury that undid the Lakers last year. They had some roster construction flaws that they needed to fix. I don't know that they necessarily fixed them as much as they made them different. Because, when LeBron was hurt and or resting, they got the brakes beat off him. In theory, Westbrook would mitigate some of that. Westbrook on the floor with LeBron and Anthony Davis doesn't seem to be the right complement, but that's up to Frank Vogel and LeBron to figure out. I tend to think they will, not to go too far down the rabbit hole with the Lakers, only because, we've seen a couple of times with LeBron where it's like, he's redundant with Dwayne Wade, or how's he going to coexist with Kyrie Irving? They're both ball dominant, this and the other, and they figured it out. But the difference is both those two guys, Irving more than Wade, could actually shoot. And Westbrook, for all he does well, he does not do that well. And LeBron and Anthony Davis both need to be surrounded by as much spacing as shooting as possible.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.